Hello and welcome to Educumi's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss the Gazette for 25th August 2021, your daily guide to UPSC current affairs. The important updates that we have today on the Gazette are: 1. Fresh SDR allocations by IMF to its members. The second one is the procedure to arrest a cabinet minister in India. And the third one relates to the Commission of Air Quality Management asking the state governments in NCR region to follow the ISRO protocol to track stubble burning in these places. This day in history is on indigenization of the army. First time the Indian Army had commissioned officers. Featured news for today, which is on a separate video, is on Montreal Protocol. This is in respect to India ratifying the Kigali Agreement, the Kigali Amendment to Montreal Protocol. And therefore in this video we will understand what is the significance of Kigali Agreement, why was Montreal Protocol in the first place instituted, what are ozone depleting substances, why were they creating harm to the Earth's environment, and we will also understand why this treaty became the most successful treaty on Earth. Image of the day is on fishing cat, which is a vulnerable species. Terms and concepts. The important terms for today are: 1. COVID in India, which has been spoken of by WHO as becoming endemic in the region. The second one is Sarup, relating to the Sikh culture. The third one, Operation Devi Shakti. And the fourth one, India having its first mRNA vaccine. Editorials of the day. The important editorials that we cover today are: 1. The de facto rule of Taliban and the de jure possibilities of including it as an important stakeholder in Afghanistan. The second one is on the power market reformation by the government of India. The third one is on an impending climate law, a climate law for the country and new views on the same. Case study of the day is from Kerala. It is on sanitizing safety planning. Let's start the discussion. We have dedicated this day in history to indigenization of the army because it was first time in the year 1917 on August 25th that 7 Indian persons were commissioned in the ranks of British Indian Army. Commission means becoming an officer. And you should note the particular year 1917. It is significant because this was the time of World War I. And these officers, along with a lot of Jawans, they went to fight World War in favor of the British Indian Army. Snapshot 1 is on fresh SDR, which has been issued by International Monetary Fund. IMF was established in 1940s with the agenda to secure global trade, to ensure that smooth trade be carried out between countries and to help these countries in case of balance of payment crisis. And therefore, this time IMF has released these fresh SDR, special drawing rights. Now, this SDR is a special type of reserve asset of IMF. Right? It is not a currency, it is not a tangible currency, however, it is a reserve asset. This asset is in the form of a collection of the different kind of currencies. So this is not specifically the dollars. The IMF is a collection of 5 currencies: dollar, euro, yen, sterling and yuan in a particular proportion. Now dollar was earlier used as the currency for IMF. However, because there needs to be stability in the currency of IMF cannot be dependent only on America, because at times if America increases the flow of dollars in the market, then there will be instability in the global trade, and therefore the currency, the SDR, was a basket of these various currencies in a proportion. So US dollars will have 42% weightage, along with Chinese renminbi, which will have around 10% weightage, euro 30%, Japanese yen around 8%, and British pound around 8%. So this is how this currency reserve was created. Also, there are various contributors to these currency because IMF has participation and voting rights of developed and developing countries both. And therefore, during the times of crisis, IMF also released these kind of SDRs to help the countries tide through these important times when there is crisis of balance of payment. Now, when the countries have to import certain entities, they have to pay in dollars. And in case they do not have enough money, this is where IMF comes to the rescue. This time IMF has said that it will release $650 billion, and this amounts to special drawing rights $455 billion. Why is there a difference? Because there is a basket of currencies in SDR. So 455 billion SDR it will release among all the stakeholders of IMF. Now, the criticism here is that most of the money that is being released during this time of crisis goes to the developed world itself. Why? Because they have more weightage in the IMF stakeholdership, right? So developed country has more weightage, and this is the criticism. India will receive around 3% of its quota from IMF, which will amount to around $17 billion. Now these $17 billion, India can put it in its own foreign exchange reserves. So this is the update. In context to a recent news where a cabinet minister was arrested on charges of defamation and public mischief against another minister, a chief minister of Maharashtra government, we will understand what are the procedures to arrest a cabinet minister in India. Being a minister and a member of the parliament, these parliamentarians enjoy certain privileges, and therefore it has been alleged that these arrests have been against the protocols. Now, the important thing to note here is that if a civil case is registered against the person, there are parliamentary privileges. For example, in case of civil cases, the arrest will not be made 40 days before and 40 days after the session of the parliament. So in civil cases, there is a lot of immunity granted. However, in criminal cases, the immunity granted is less, right? In case of criminal offenses or the preventive detention, right, there are other things to handle. Now, in case of criminal charges, the person can be arrested. However, the chairman of the Rajya Sabha will have to be informed, and later the chairman will present the case. They will either publish it or inform the members of the reason of the arrest. So therefore we understand that there is certain level of impunity for the civil charges and there is less immunity for the criminal charges against the member. Also, one important point to note is that at the premises of the house, no arrest will be made without the permission of the chairman or the speaker of the assembly. Third snapshot is on ISRO protocol to track stubble burning data. Now, the Commission for Air Quality Management has asked all the states which are around Delhi NCR region to track the stubble burning data through the ISRO protocol itself. Now, the ISRO protocol says that it will be tracking all the pollution data around Delhi NCR region. This is through aerosol optical depth. Aerosol are the small particles of solid or liquid. They are suspended in the air, and this is what is considered as pollution. Now, in case there is visibility for the satellite and it reaches the earth, then there is less presence of aerosol. But if aerosol present is more, then there will be less visibility for the satellite, and this is how it tracks the data for the whole country. And now the ISRO has been mapping these kind of pollutants since the year 2015. However, the states around this region, Delhi NCR region, they have not been taking ISRO's data. They have been taking segregated and diverse kind of data from different agencies. For example, Central Pollution Control Board. Now, because of this, there is no standardization and the states are not able to understand and map the pollution level, and only after mapping will they be able to find these authorities or individuals in the region for polluting because of stubble burning. We have also covered CAQM, the Commission for Air Quality Management, in one of the terms in the last week. So if you type CAQM, Commission for Air Quality Management, Educhemy on Google, you will be able to easily search the terms for this particular word. Image of the day is on the fishing cat. This is a vulnerable species. It is found in mangrove areas around eastern part of the country. This has lately been figured in Panna Tiger Reserve in Madhya Pradesh. This fishing cat is almost twice the size of the regular cat, and now because of destruction of the mangrove and its habitat, it is a vulnerable species. First term in news is COVID in India. WHO has said that COVID might become endemic in India. Now, this is where we will understand the important difference between pandemic, endemic and epidemic. Pandemic is something that is present throughout, right? So COVID disease is pandemic. Throughout the whole world it is present. Endemic means constant presence in a particular geographical area. That means if we say COVID has become endemic to India, that means it is present in India for an elongated period of time, and therefore since it is present for an elongated period of time, it becomes more predictable in that particular area. Then what is epidemic? Epidemic means the disease spread is at a particular place and it has erupted suddenly at a particular place. It will also subside, but it has erupted. So this is epidemic, right? Now, because India is a heterogeneous country with a lot of diversity, with different levels of immunity of people and different levels of vaccination, it is possible that the disease will keep spreading in the country at different paces at different places, and therefore it is very much possible that COVID might become endemic to the country. Saroop, the second term in news. Saroop is the physical copy of Guru Granth Sahib. It is in news because Saroops had to be carried from Afghanistan to India to preserve these holy textbooks. Now, they are also called as Bir in Punjabi, and they are considered as living Guru because after the 10 Gurus passed away, it was in the Saroop, in the holy Sikh book, that all the text, all the important rules and regulations were passed on, and therefore it is considered as a living Guru. And this is the reason that Sarup are carried, they are revered and respected, and they're carried in only a particular manner, right? So manner is such that 5 Baptist Sikhs can carry it on their heads, and they have to be barefoot while they carry it, right? Certain important fact about Sarup, they are written documents, right? They were also printed during the time of British, and they are also cremated. They're cremated at Taran Taran in Punjab in case the document, in case the book, it is out of its function. The printing right to Sarup is only with Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee. India has instituted Operation Devi Shakti to airlift people from Afghanistan. Airlift those people of India who are being stranded in Afghanistan, and also Afghan nationals. Now, Afghan nationals used to board these planes without the visas, and therefore government said that yes, visas will be required for Afghan nationals if they are traveling to India. The Port Tamil News is India's first mRNA vaccine. This is created by Genova Biopharmaceutical Company, and it is on the lines of Moderna and Pfizer. Now, the prime difference between mRNA vaccines and the vaccines which used injection of the virus itself is that in mRNA vaccine, what is injected is the messenger RNA, and this RNA is the one which later creates the protein which creates the same effect as the virus in human body, and therefore antibodies are produced against this protein. These are safer to use, these are faster to create, and they are more efficient, cost efficient. Editorials of the day. The first editorial on the legal challenges to recognize Taliban in Afghanistan. The editorial starts by saying that there are two world powers, China and Russia, which are in favor of recognizing Taliban as the government of Afghanistan. However, Canada does not recognize the same. And this is where the constitutional and unconstitutional means, the right means to accept a government and the not righteous means to accept the government, this is in question, right? We are not questioning the state of Afghanistan, we are only questioning the legitimate government in Afghanistan. And therefore, the editorial points out two ways in which this legitimacy can be tested. The first one is the test of government legitimacy through effectiveness, and the second one is democratic legitimacy. Now, the question should be asked, if Afghanistan can actually administer its full territory, Afghanistan's full territory, whether the population is being administered by Taliban or not, whether all the institutions like banking, monetary systems, they are administered well by Taliban or not. And this is where Taliban can be given the benefit of doubt whether it is effective or not. Now, this is first way of administering the legitimacy of Afghanistan. The second one is on democratic legitimacy. How can it be understood? It can be understood if people have actually voted the government in power or not. And this is where Taliban does not stand any ground, right? The article says that after the emergence of human rights and post-Cold World War era, this democratic legitimacy becomes more important. And this is where we have seen examples from around the world. In Yemen, we have the Hadi government in exile, still running. And we have the Venezuelan government, Maduro government, which has not been accepted all round because it did not enjoy the democratic legitimacy, right? Now, what is option for India? Should India accept Taliban as the government on the basis of its effectiveness, or should India reject it on the basis of democratic illegitimacy? The article says that India has got huge investments in the region, and India being the regional hegemon, India should also accept Taliban as an important power in Afghanistan. So Afghanistan, the de facto ruler there is Taliban, and therefore India must carve out a clear policy in favor of Taliban. The second editorial is on an important government reform in the power sector. The editorial starts by saying that the power sector has served more than 700 million people since the year 2000 itself. Now, there is a power market and power exchange. These have been established post 2000 to be able to discover the price in the power market effectively and to be able to ensure that there is transparency in transactions. There are different kinds of companies involved. There is somebody called as power creator, power generator. There is somebody called as power distributor. And then there is somebody in between who is into the transmission business. Now, there are agreements between the power generators and the power distributors. So these distribution companies, maybe the government companies, and the power generators, which are different companies, there is an agreement. Now, these agreements usually are the long-term agreements, right? So these are in the form of power purchase agreements. These agreements could last as much as 20 to 30 years, right? Now, since India is a power surplus country, therefore these agreements do not prove to be most advantageous for the power distribution companies. And therefore, this editorial speaks of the short-term contracts. Short-term contracts which are less than 11 days have become more important, and there are more than 10% of such contracts which are being executed through power markets these days. The article says that it is a very good reform by the government to introduce contracts, longer duration delivery contracts, which are greater than the 11-day contracts right now. These contracts will enable in multiple ways. For example, effective price discovery for the power trading companies. This is one. There will be flexibility in power purchase mechanism in short term as well. So if the long term power purchase agreements are not the most effective way, then the short term agreements are also very good. This is where the article says that now there is a requirement of round the clock electricity. There are places where the requirement is peak at some particular time, or day requirement, night requirement, and customized requirement, and therefore it is required that these agreements be made more flexible. There is better mechanism of flexibility in the contract through these short-term agreements, and therefore it is a very good move, right? In case these power agreements are relinquished by the governments, by the power purchase companies, in case the power agreements are relinquished, they can be transferred, all this power can be transferred to the short-term market. The third editorial is an important editorial about how climate law in India should be framed. The editorial starts by saying that IPCC report has cleared the doubt. Yes, it is humans who are causing the global warming. There is a clear-cut cause and effect relationship between global warming and human effect on the same. Now, India is the country which is third in number as to how much greenhouse gases are produced globally after China and USA. Now, India must have laws for climate change, and whether it should be in terms of mitigation or adaptation to climate change or development measure, this is where the confusion prevails. The article says that if we have a target-based law, it may not be followed properly. Why? Because there will be development cost, because presently the high carbon economy is the one which is creating employment, it is creating growth, and therefore if we have a low carbon economy, suddenly it might not be pro-development. This is one. India already has low per capita emission, therefore there will be less impetus to give high ambitious targets for India to reduce its carbon emissions, right? Also, there will be ill-specified liabilities. So courts will not be able to enforce what kind of liability, how much penalty to be introduced, right? Because there will be development cost. This is where the article says that enabling transformation in India is required. Laws which work at the grassroots level, that is required. Research and development is required in technology, rather than designing a law, hastily designed law, which tries to curtail the carbon emission of the country. Therefore, the main idea is to bring institutional mechanism. Main idea is to bring technical and financial capacity in the country, which makes the whole transformation more effective. So, in crux, the article says that the idea should not be to impose numbers. The idea should be to impose grassroots change, to impose those kind of institutions, introduction of those kind of institutions which spur a revolution for the times to come, to be able to adapt and develop the country against climate change. Case study of today is from Kochi Municipal Corporation. Around the world, there are around 4 billion people who do not have access to safe sanitation, and this is what results in open defecation and later diseases spreading through the same. And therefore, Kochi Municipal Corporation adopted sanitation safety planning. It did in a couple of important ways. First of all, it assessed the risk, the local risk level because of open sanitation, and after that is also streamlined the sanitation service chain, and this is how it achieved the target 3 of goal 6, that is clean water and sanitation. Now most of the water in the city is being treated before it is let down in the sewage, and therefore this model of Kochi is been replicated throughout the country. In case you like our effort and our video, do share some love on us through likes, comments and shares. If you subscribe to the channel, you will receive timely updates. Thanks for watching.